They were already shouting when I arrived. The living room smelled like coffee gone cold and entitlement warmed over. My graduation cap sat on the chair beside me, untouched. My phone buzzed with messages I didn't open. My mother stood with her arms crossed. My brother stared past me like I was a stranger renting space in his house. That was the moment. The line in the sand I didn't know I was about to draw. "Cancel it," my mother said. Not asked, ordered. "Your nephew needs you." I remember how calm I felt. That scared them more than if I'd yelled. I said no. That word detonated something old and rotten in our family. They called it selfishness. They called me ungrateful. They said blood came before paper diplomas. They said my future could wait. Their trip could not. I stood up. I picked up my cap. I left. That was the day they cut me off. Not quietly. Not cleanly. They told everyone. Extended family, friends, church people who smiled at me like they knew a secret about my soul. I was the one who chose ambition over family. The one who abandoned a child. The villain in a story they rehearsed until it sounded true. I didn't fight it. I thought about the first time I learned what love cost in this family. I was 13, washing dishes while my brother studied. He was the investment. I was helpful. Years later, when college acceptance letters came, mine were treated like noise. His needs were treated like law. I learned early that care in this house was transactional. You earned it by disappearing. Graduation was my mistake. It made me visible. After they cut me off, the silence was surgical. No calls, no holidays, no birthdays. I watched them online, smiling on beaches I helped pay for by always saying yes. I worked, I studied, I slept 4 hours a night, and built a life that didn't require permission. The betrayal wasn't loud. It was procedural. I noticed how quickly I was erased. My room repurposed. My things donated. My name used as a cautionary tale. That's when the grief settled into something harder. Control. I didn't plead. I didn't explain. I planned. I learned contracts. I learned budgets. I learned how to be indispensable to myself. I took internships that paid in exposure and nights that paid in panic. I built credit. I built distance. I built a reputation that didn't depend on my last name. Years passed. Their bodies aged faster than their pride. The first call came on a Tuesday. My mother's voice was smaller, softer. She said my name, like it had been misplaced and recently found. She talked about doctors, medications, stairs that suddenly felt steeper. She said family mattered now. She said they needed help navigating care options. I listened. I said nothing. The second call came from my brother. He skipped the apology and went straight to logistics. Could I move closer? Could I manage appointments? Could I help financially? He said I owed them. He said this was my chance to make things right. I felt the old anger stir. Then it settled, clean, focused. I said I'd think about it. That night, I laid out the plan I'd been building without knowing it. I gathered documents. I reviewed policies. I made lists, not to help them, to protect myself. I scheduled meetings. I learned what caregiving actually costs when it's not done by the invisible daughter. When we met in person, years later, they looked smaller. The house felt like a set after the actors had left. My mother cried. My brother avoided my eyes. They expected me to fold. They expected relief. I gave them clarity. I told them I could not be their caregiver. I told them I would not manage their decline. I told them I could help find professionals. Paid professionals. I laid out numbers, contracts, waiting lists. I spoke calmly. I spoke precisely. I spoke like someone who had rehearsed. My brother exploded. He called me cold. He said this proved everything they'd ever said about me. My mother asked how I could do this after everything they'd done for me. I leaned forward. I reminded them of graduation day. I reminded them of the trip. I reminded them of the word selfish. I told them I learned it from them. I told them I'd practiced it until it kept me alive. The room went quiet. Not shocked, exposed. I stood up. I handed them a folder. Resources, contacts, boundaries. I told them this was all I had to give. I told them I wished them well. They didn't follow me to the door. Now, when I think about it, I don't feel guilt. I feel symmetry. I didn't take revenge by destroying them. I took it by refusing to disappear. I didn't raise my voice. I raised my standards. They wanted my sacrifice. They got my absence. I graduated that day years ago. Not just from college, From a family that only loved me when I was useful. And when they needed me again, I gave them exactly what they taught me to give. Nothing for free.